Two, one. Hi, everybody, and welcome to 5 Minutes with Louise.
Hello.
That way. 5 Minutes with Louise. No, it's very confusing. Anyway, you're here, and that's great. And Louise is going to be talking today about ingredients for cooking up a coffee. So I'm very excited about this because I think the copywriting is quite a challenge. So sorry, I'm just reorganizing my phone so I can see the comments. Oh, Susan Smalley's here. Susan's done this before. She's a pro. So yes, so I'm quite excited about this. So before we get started, well, we'll see for people coming. Oh, we've got Heather Hogger-Smith here as well. So this is great. What have you been up to today?
Today I've mostly been feeling nervous about doing this, Amy. So I've been doing my last minute planning, just editing, cutting words out, because obviously as a writer I'm much happier with a pen and paper than I am sitting here in front of a screen talking to you. But yeah, I had a nice day off the school run today because my husband got a puncture this morning and he had to wait for quick fit open, so he got to take the kids to school in my car and I got to relax a little bit before getting started. And I've done a couple of invoices this morning and had some nice feedback from a client, so it's been all right so far.
Sounds okay. We had school assembly today, which was all right.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of Roman kids bouncing around on the stage. And
I was at the Stone Age assembly yesterday with my little caveman. So.
Stone Age. I think we've done the Stone Age. I lose track. Anyway, do you want to tell people what it is that you do? And then we'll get started with your tips.
Yeah. Well, my business is The Word Kitchen and I cook up creative copy. Previous to this, in my past life, I worked for Hallmark Cards for about 12 years in total as an editor and then an editorial manager. So a lot of my experience is kind of words that go on products, so cards, stationery, that kind of thing, and managing a team, coming up with new kind of voices and directions for different ranges and working within a big creative studio, which I absolutely loved my days at Hallmark, and my team there, which I really miss now being a solo, miss the team aspect, but kind of decided to leave Hallmark because I wanted to move back to Northumberland. So I was Leeds based then, and I had my third child, and the whole getting to work, 3 children, going different places was stressful. And I thought, you know what, I've always had this thing that I would come home, and having some grandparents nearby was a big pull as well. So we moved back and I just kind of set up The Word Kitchen, and it started with doing a lot of words for card products and with, you know, getting clients through ex-Hallmark colleagues who'd moved on to other creative companies. So still doing a lot of kind of cards, stationery, journals, that kind of thing. But I also wanted to kind of dip more into copywriting for business. So I've worked on people's websites and social media posts and any marketing communications really. So so that's me.
Lots of experience writing and presumably tons better at it than most people watching this. Although Susan's quite good at writing. Susan's pretty good at writing. I think you're writing a book, aren't you, Susan? I find copywriting very challenging. I think I found it easier as time has gone on, but certainly I wouldn't say that I find it easy. It's not something I enjoy. So looking forward to your tips. So do you want to share your first one? Oh, hang on. Before you do that, I totally forgot. I always do a little thing. People who've never seen on 5 Minutes with video before, so they can understand what's happening. So I'll do that. So Louise is sharing 3 tips today about creating copy. She's going to share our first tip here in this group, and then we're going to hop over to my membership site, the Brand Success Club, to hear the next 2 tips. If you want to find out what those 2 tips are, then you need to join the Brand Success Club, which you can do at brandsuccessclub.co.uk. Right, now you can talk about your first tip.
Thank you. All right, I'm just going to kind of stick with the whole cooking metaphor and just think about if you're having some guests over for a meal, and you're going to make sure before you plan that meal that you know what they like and they dislike, if they've got any allergies, if you know, they're vegetarian, and you're going to want to serve something that's going to suit their needs and it's going to really impress them.
Yeah.
So you're going to get the right ingredients in, you're going to make sure you're following your recipe, but you're going to adjust it and give it some authentic flavour along the way, and you're going to try and make every ingredient count.
Yeah.
And most importantly, you're not going to dish it up if you haven't tasted it, just in case you've done something seriously wrong. You're going to taste it and you're going to think, is that good enough? And is it going to wow them? And you might even get someone else to taste it and say what's missing, and they might just give you that secret ingredient. So what's that got to do with copy? Well, we can think about your business copy like that. It's just like cooking, and you've got to get it right. And the first tip I'm going to give is to get some authentic flavor. So get your brand voice right, make it sound like you and your brand. And yeah, that's my first tip. So
how do you do that?
Well, we had a little saying at Hallmark that design attracts, but words sell. So if you think about it, you think, you are very much about your visual branding, and that's great. So people will come to you and get you to do the logo and come up with the brand colors and the fonts, and and they'll get consistency in that. So really, your words are just as important, because that design is going to draw you in. You're going to go, oh, that looks like a lovely website or a lovely brochure, or oh, that logo's nice. But then if you start to read it and it's just boring, or the content doesn't appeal to you, then you're not going to buy from that person. So the two things have to really, really work together. And we'd find that with cards, a lot of people would go, love the design, pick it up, open it up. Oh, it's not what I wanted to say. It's not connecting with them. You've got to have that kind of emotional connection there. So how are you going to find your voice? You're going to you want to humanize your brand. You want to kind of give it some personality. So to do that, you need to do two things. And first is to know what your brand values are. So understand that, because you want to communicate your values. So if you're saying one of your values is to be approachable, then your copy needs to come across that you're approachable and not standoffish. So how do you want to be seen and heard as a brand? And then the other thing you need to bear in mind is your customer. You've always got to put them at the heart of what you're writing. So who are you writing for? So your goal is to make it easy for them to buy from you. So you might want to create a brand persona. So this is like your ideal customer, who you want to target with your product or service. Give them a name, make up a little character for them. What do they like to do? How do they spend their evenings? What kind of jobs do they do? Do they have kids? Are they empty nesters? All of that kind of stuff. We had lots at Hallmark that we used to love and were very attached to. We had a couple of ladies, and one was kind of your grandma type figure, and one was your mum with two kids and the busy life and all that. And so we'd have in mind when we were writing a card, is this for let's say Noreen, or is it for Debbie? And so you'd be writing for that person, and you'd understand their relationships and their lives and what they wanted, because emotion very much sells. And whether that is cards, I know it's quite different, but emotion does sell your products and services too. If you can tap into the emotions, if you can give people a reason to buy and connect with your products and services, then they're much more likely to buy than you just listing off a load of features. They need to get emotionally involved, and you need to know how you want them to feel about your brand. If you think of things like children in need, we all know the statistics that there is kind of a lot of childhood poverty in the world. But if they give us that one child on the screen and tell us their personal story, we've tapped into our emotions, and we can't help but click a little donate button. So it's kind of the same. Tell that story that gets an emotional connection. And so how are you going to be authentic in your brand voice? It's by being you, being real, be human. People want to get to know the person behind the brand, and build up some kind of rapport before they're comfortable buying from you. So if they like what you're saying and how you're saying it, they're going to eventually invest in you. And if you're kind of consistent with how you're putting yourself across, and that they'll see that as you're a consistent person, and there's some consistency in what you're doing. So think of it as having a conversation with them rather than, oh, I'm writing something, because when we tend to write, often people sit down and all this stuff comes out. It's very kind of formal. There isn't how they would talk if they were sitting having a business conversation with that person. So kind of try and write it how you would say it, and decide on your tone and be consistent with it. So this is back to your brand values. If you're you want to try and tap into those with your tone. So it might be good to choose 3 descriptors of your tone. So you might want to be friendly, helpful, and approachable might be your 3 ways that you're going to come across in your copy. Or you might want to be warm, sincere, and honest. Or maybe you're going to be really enthusiastic and a little bit quirky, but totally knowledgeable. So it's how do you want to come across about your brand, about your products and services. So some ideas to get you started on developing your brand voice. You might want to start with a slogan. I've got my cooking up creative copy. That, having that little kind of slogan to go with your brand name might just set the tone for what else you want to do. Or maybe the tone will come first and that will lead to the slogan. And always remember, you don't have to start at the beginning or write things chronologically. You don't, if you're doing your website, you don't have to start with the homepage. That might be the trickiest bit to write. If you start with your about page, that's something you know really well. You're passionate about what you're doing. You're passionate about why you're doing it and who it's for. So tell your story, and your personality will probably come through that story of you, and then you can kind of analyze what you've done there and think, right, how does that now transfer to the other pages on my website or the rest of my communications? Sorry, I just turned my notes. Another thing you could do is record yourself speaking. So if you record yourself, listen back, maybe type up what you've said, and then you'll start to see how you use language. Do you use contractions, or do you use colloquialisms in how you talk? Other words that you often say that are very you, or little phrases might be very you that you might want to incorporate into your copy, and just go from there. Maybe use that as a starting point.
That's a great idea. I never thought of doing that to help sort of work out your copy. And different things. I must say things that I wouldn't write, that I just don't think. That's a great idea. I'm going to do that, even though I'll hate it.
And get feedback. Like if you've written something and you think, does that sound like me? Is that how I want to put my brand across? Then get somebody else to read it and say, does that sound like something I would say, or does it not? Or because often you can't see that for yourself. And if you're still struggling, you can hire a copywriter like me who will kind of listen to how you talk. They'll analyze, what you've already written. They'll talk to you about, well, what have you written that you really like? What are the bits that you like, and what are the bits that you don't like, and why do you like that? And they'll help you to develop that brand voice. For example, I've just worked with Katie over at the Year Makers, who sends out gorgeous stationery subscription boxes, and she's got a really fun, quirky little brand voice going on. She's already developed that, and it's very her, and you get a real sense of her personality, and it's all about colour and fun and exciting products. But what she was struggling with was the clarity in her message. So, she had a tendency to write very long sentences, and therefore you've kind of lost the gist of what she was trying to say. So it was about kind of honing in on that and making sure that what she was trying to say was coming across to the reader. She knew it in her head, but was that coming across on the page or on the screen in this case? So, so that's kind of working with what somebody's already got. Or another client, they sell plastic shopping baskets, which is not very sexy at all, is it? Selling plastic shopping baskets to the likes of Asda and Morrison's. Very important. People use them every day, don't they? So they kind of were doing their new website, and they didn't want it to come across really kind of that corporate business speak. So they wanted me to look at their tone of voice and think about, well, how can we make this fun? Because these people have to buy shopping baskets, but they don't have to buy them from us. So why do they want to buy it from us? And it's all about the kind of relationship they can have and the communication that they can have, and making that fun, and like, we want to work with you, we want to choose you over somebody else. And we did some fun stuff with the copy, so that was really nice to do.
Fantastic.
All right, so
Yeah,
that is my first
I was
tip.
actually quite amazed by, I shouldn't have been amazed, but I guess because I don't think about copy very much, it's not forefront in my mind, but there is a lot of similarity in everything that you've just said and the things that I use in what I do.
Yeah.
What about brand values? I'm like, brand values, be all and end all. You've got to have your brand values, and about having your ideal client laid out and all of that stuff, and about being yourself. Because I think sometimes people come into a business thinking, I want to be like this, but that isn't really very realistic, because they're not going to be able to maintain that because it's not them. So I think that's really important. So this is great. There's a lot of similarities, and I should obviously have realised there would be, but because I'm not a copywriter.
Well, the two things have got to work together, haven't they? Your visual and your voice it's got to be on the same page, if you like. So it is going to come from the values and
it all makes
your customer profile.
You can totally tell when people have used a copywriter and when they haven't, the difference in the final piece of work that you get at the end and how well it all works together. It makes a huge difference. That and photography, but both those things right, it works with design, and you're front of a winner. So awesome. So that was really, really good. And we had Phil said that he liked your phrase about design attracts but words sell. I really like that too. And Susan, I mentioned earlier that Susan was writing a book, and I feel like it's very unfair not to show a quote about a book. She's doing flash fiction, poetry, and she's like that a business novel. No, I don't know, something sort of novel. Doesn't make sense to me. I'm sure it'll make sense if someone else reads it. But not writing content for a website very often, which is the hard bit, isn't it? So that's brilliant. And Liz is saying that she's got a website, so I'm sure you're going to find those tips really useful too, aren't you, Liz? So that was really, really, really good. I'm chuffed with that. So how can people find out more about working with you? Or do you have anything? Oh, hello, Leanne's here as well. Anything that you want to tell people about today that would be really beneficial for them, especially if they're and have amazing.
Well, I very naughtily don't have my own website, but that is on my to-do list, and it will be done. So you can contact me through my Facebook page or LinkedIn. My profile is on LinkedIn with what I do, or you can just email me. It's Louise Heaps at thewordkitchen.co.uk. And I'd like to do a little offer for people in your brand club today. So if anybody would like a free copy hour, I'm going to offer 3 free hours where I will either you could send me a piece of copy and I'll have a look at it and give you some suggestions on improvement, or we could get together for a one-to-one and chat through, maybe look at your website and make some suggestions about that, or a leaflet that you're doing or anything like that, and see if I can help you like that. So maybe the first 3 people that email me who say they'd like a free hour, then we'll do that.
Brilliant. I think that's a fantastic offer. Oh, who said this? Heather says that she loves the idea of recording yourself. So do I. And Liz says that she'd sort of put a video on a website too, which I think would be fantastic. But that is a wonderful offer. And I think we should definitely all go and send an email as quick as you can, because there's 7 people watching this, 8. The numbers change a little bit. So, get in quick, because the replay people will get there first if you don't. So I would definitely go and take advantage of that, because Louise, as you can tell, knows what she's talking about and can make a massive difference to your, whatever it is that you want it to make a massive difference to. So brilliant. That was fantastic. So I am going to end this broadcast, and we're going to pop over to the Brand Success Club for another 2 amazing tips.
Yeah.
Don't know where you're going to get these extra tips from, because I felt like an awful lot. That was like many tips. You said in one, didn't you? So I'm looking forward to that. So I need to watch everything on replay and probably jump on your offer. Yeah, Leanne, I would jump on the offer. Go on. That would be brilliant, especially because at the beginning you were saying about how you do stuff for words and products, and Leanne is a product business. So words for Leanne would be fantastic.
Yeah, so it could be words for products if people want me to look at that. That's great.
Send that email, Leanne, but really, 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 really quickly, because I know you'll be joining us in the Brand Success Club. So I'll see you all over there in a minute. Okay, thank you. Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Right, I have clicked end broadcast.